When Sandy told me to get out of her sight for the umpteenth time, it finally dawned on me. I'm the nasty side character in a campus love story. The guy who hangs around the heroine like a loyal puppy, getting in the way between her and Mr. Perfect, right up until they got engaged. The whole crew kicked me to the curb, left in the pouring rain, crashed my car, broke my leg, you name it. Knowing all this, I freaked out and packed my bags ASAP. I raised 3 fingers to the sky and swore, "Don't worry, Sandy. I'm outta here. I promise you won't see me again or have to deal with me getting in your way. Henry, can't you have some self-respect? I'm trying to get rid of you, but you just won't leave. What's your problem? Wait, what did you just say?" After a pause, Sandy seemed to realize something. She turned slightly, her tone changing. "What did you say? Say it again?" The room got quiet real fast, and everyone was sneaking glances at us. Everyone in the elite circle knew that since we were kids, I always liked to stick close to Sandy. Wherever she went, I'd follow. When she took up piano, I took up violin in the classroom next door. She went to the best high school, and of course, I followed her there too. She chose science, so did I. Everyone said, Henry is like Sandy's little tail, they can't be separated. But once we hit high school, Sandy made new friends, and I got on her nerves. She started avoiding me. The thing she said most often to me became, "Can you just leave me alone? Henry, get some independence. I'm your girlfriend now? Can't you keep your distance?" Back then, I brushed it all off. My skin was pretty thick. I'd bounce right back the next day, happy as ever, sticking around her. But now, knowing I'm the nasty side character, there's nothing more crucial than surviving. Ignoring Sandy's pissed-off look, I packed my things and dragged my suitcase to the hotel lobby. I shoved my phone in her face, sincerely and earnestly saying, "Look, I wasn't lying. I even booked the flight just a bit ago. Heading back to school won't bother you anymore." That vexed, ice-cold glare from her was no joke. For a moment, Sandy said nothing, not until Charlie, the real male lead, came over and muttered a bit, just loud enough for her to hear. Then she finally turned her head, scoffing. "Fine. Remember what you said today, Henry. Get out and don't come back." I eagerly agreed and took off with my suitcase. By the next morning, I was back at school. My dorm mate was still asleep, peeked out from his covers, looking seriously spooked to see me. He rubbed his eyes. "Henry, weren't you supposed to be on that beach vacation with Sandy? Why were you back so soon? Couldn't find her?" Can't blame the guy for asking. Sandy had planned this whole trip without telling me. She'd recently won some international math competition and threw a trip for all her close friends. Somewhere along the way, I caught wind of it, tagged along uninvited, and booked a ticket on the same flight. Tracked her down through social media alone. Showed up at her hotel. As soon as I walked in, before I could even say a word, she shut me down, right at the door. "Henry, what the heck are you doing here? I didn't invite you, are you serious right now? Can't you just roll out?" After I explained what happened, my roommate scratched his head. "So you just came back?" I was crouched down, organizing my stuff, not even glancing up. Yup, she was pretty darn explicit this time. Not leaving would be pretty dense on my part, right? My roommate gave me this puzzled look. "Are you out of your mind? How many times has she told you off, and when have you ever actually called it quits? Didn't you always say Sandy's just stubborn, that she'd warm up over time?" Thinking back now, how dumb was that idea? If she was gonna warm up, she'd have done it by now. I sighed, waved it off. No more jokes. I'm really a changed man now. I'm keeping a serious distance from her. My roommate yawned. "I'll believe it when I see it." Moments later, he widened his eyes as I pulled a study abroad application for the UK off the shelf and carefully scrawled my name on it. "Mr. Jason mentioned there's an experimental project there that's perfect for me." Initially turned it down without a second thought, but now, I'm game. Meanwhile, back with Sandy, things got awkward real quick. When Henry arrived, they were in the hotel lobby, prepping to take their bags upstairs. Someone hesitated a bit, then handed Sandy a confirmed room booking. "What do you think, Sandy? Should we keep Henry's room or cancel it?" Before coming here, they were debating how many rooms to book. Sandy had coughed it out, include Henry. He's just this nagging shadow wherever I go, he trots along after. Pretty annoying. Now, staring at the room directly across from hers, Sandy just got more annoyed. The memory of Henry deliberately keeping his distance flashed through her mind like a stubborn migraine, her hand squeezing the bottle tight. Keep what? Didn't he say he was vanishing from my life? Let him vanish. Why care about him at all? Everyone exchanged uncertain looks. Until someone saw Sandy was genuinely peeved this time. Stepped in quick. Come on. Chill. I bet Henry's just putting on an act. He's been pining after you for so long. Chances are, he's somewhere close by, waiting for you to cave in. Sandy's expression softened a bit, letting a quiet scoff escape. She thought, caving? Not in a million years. Before 3 days are up, Henry'll crawl back faster than you can say desperate. That's just him. Plus, it's peak season. Better keep that room. I told my parents about my plan to go to the UK. They were surprised but didn't object. For days later, I gathered all the required documents and filled out the application. I handed it over to my advisor. She seemed surprised at first, then quickly became happy. You finally figured it out, Henry. Our school has many students there. They all look out for each other, so you won't be alone. I'll sign it right now and upload it online. You should start packing. The flight is in about a week, with a group from our school. My advisor is a big name in the industry and has students all over the world. Since she said this, the team's vibe must be pretty good. I nodded slightly, thinking about it, and left her office feeling a bit more excited for the near future. When I reached the building's front, I was about to catch a ride downtown to buy some necessities when someone called me. Henry, what are you doing here? I turned to see one of Sandy's classmates. He was supposed to join the vacation but had to cancel because of family matters. He scratched his nose and walked over. Henry, are you back early? I saw Sandy and the others are still there diving. They seem to be having a great time, posting a lot on social media. Didn't you see it? I'm not interested in these things. I waved it off, intending to change the subject, but he showed me his phone screen. Sandy never updates her life on social media, but recently, she posted a lot. Every picture was of her smiling happily, sometimes adjusting her diving gear or watching the sunrise from the beach. And the guy was always beside her, laughing and joking around. In today's new post, they rented a boat to go fishing. Sandy caught a big fish, turned to look at Charlie, and they smiled at each other. The sunlight made that moment quite beautiful. Someone in the comments, not in the know, asked, "Who's that guy? He's handsome. Are we getting a brother-in-law? Funny how we never see Henry. Strange. Huh?" Mentioning me seemed uncalled for. Sandy didn't reply to any comments but highlighted this one, saying, "Oh him. We broke up." This poor guy hadn't seen today's new post or the comments, so I pointed out Sandy's statement. "Look, that's why I didn't go." He blushed, stammering an apology. I didn't see that, Henry. Sorry." Just then, my ride showed up. I waved it off, laughing as I opened the door. "No worries." "Well, now you see. We're done, so no need to tell me about her." "I don't care." "Do I really not care?" "I'm not even sure. We've known each other for so long." Seeing her casual breakup comment stung a bit. Supporting roles are just supporting roles. How could I compete with what's meant to be? I took a deep breath, pushing away the jumbled thoughts, focusing on preparing for my trip. I returned to the dorm with big bags of shopping. With the essentials sorted, I started packing textbooks and journals. My roommate joined in to help. He couldn't leave because his research wasn't done. Halfway through, he slung an arm over my shoulder, sighing, "Man, I'll miss you. I didn't believe you'd move on from Sandy so quick. Now you're leaving. Let her regret it." I patted his arm and shook my head. To be honest, Sandy won't regret it. Without me in the way, she and her guy will be even more lovey-dovey. Before I could say more, I noticed the diamond bracelet I wore. How could I forget? Sandy's mom gave it to me when we graduated high school. Sandy and I got into the same college. Our families celebrated together. At the end of the night, her mom pulled me aside on the balcony, smiling as she clasped an exquisite bracelet onto my wrist. "Keep this, Henry. We went to an auction and Sandy liked it. You'll look out for each other in college, right? The bracelet was clearly precious. I wanted to refuse, but after a few attempts, I accepted it. When I came back inside, Sandy was looking at my wrist. For a moment, she blushed, then frowned, coughing. Why'd my mom give you that? We just bought it for fun at the auction. Never mind, it looks good on you. Keep wearing it. This was the first and only gift from Sandy. I was thrilled for days after. Her parents bought a big condo in the city for her. They even left a room for me in case the dorm didn't work out. I didn't go there often, though, but I couldn't resist Sandy's mom's enthusiasm, so I ended up buying some clothes and daily necessities to leave there. There are also a bunch of gifts I'd given Sandy over time. Every time she said she didn't like them, then tossed them into this room. I touched the bracelet on my wrist. Now that I'm leaving, it's probably time to clean up a bit. The next day, I grabbed a taxi to the apartment downtown. Sandy hadn't come back yet. Naturally, no one was home. I still knew the door code. Sandy's mom had specifically given it to me. But when I entered it, I realized Sandy had changed it at some point. I frowned, trying several more. My birthday, Sandy's birthday. I even checked the school directory for Charlie's birthday, but no luck. Nothing worked. So I decided to call Sandy. She didn't answer after several tries. Just when I was about to lose patience, her laid-back voice came through the phone. Henry? Why the call? Weren't you the one who said you'd never show up in front of me again? And now you can't even wait for a while? She laughed, as if relaxing after some heavy thoughts. You said you were into diving, right? Why don't you just come over? I see some rooms available at the hotel. If you want, I can talk to the front desk to hold one for you. I took a deep breath and quickly interrupted her. No, Sandy, don't hold a room for me. I wasn't planning to come. I'm in front of your place on Zhonghuan Road right now. Can you tell me the code? I need to get inside for something. There was silence for a moment, then a clicking sound, like Sandy lighting a cigarette. So she's smoking again. I've told her countless times how much I hate that smell, but it never seems to register with her. In a cold tone, Sandy asked, what for? There's not much in your room, right? Just some clothes? What, you preparing to pack up and run abroad? My heart skipped a beat. I didn't want Sandy to find out about my exchange program abroad just yet. Before leaving, I just wanted to quietly finish what I needed to do without unnecessary drama. So I sighed and made up an excuse. Denied her assumption. Isn't New Year's Eve next week? I got you a gift, wanted to put it in the house for a surprise. Every year on New Year's Eve, Sandy and I have been together. Sometimes with our families, sometimes with friends. But no matter what, when the clock struck midnight, we faced each other. Not this year. My advisor contacted me. My application for the exchange program abroad has been approved. I'm leaving exactly then. So, at midnight this year, I'll probably be with the other exchange students, sitting on a plane. The next moment, like letting her guard down, Sandy chuckled and gave me the apartment code. 0904. You didn't guess that? How dumb. It's the day we headed to college together. The start of college? I was a bit surprised but didn't think too deeply about it. After hanging up, I took off the bracelet from my wrist and placed it in a red velvet box, positioning it where it would be noticed as soon as you walked in. Then I organized my stuff from the room. Sandy was right. I didn't have much luggage, just some clothes. A small suitcase could hold it all. But what she didn't know was, apart from those, what I really wanted to take was something else. Opening the drawer under the desk, at the far end, lay an envelope. Inside was a long sheet of paper. It's a list I write every year of all the future things I want to do with Sandy. Attend a massive concert. Go bungee jumping, scuba diving, see the auroras. Travel the world. Climb snowy mountains. So many things. Whenever Sandy was in a good mood, I would casually bring up some plans inside carefully. My thesis is nearly done. The advisor says we don't need to be in the lab all break. I recently saw a short diving video, looks fun. Do you want to try? Sandy didn't reply. Too busy typing away on her phone, chatting with someone. A while later, she looked up, briefly glanced at me. What did you say? Didn't catch that. Charlie wants me, let's talk next time. But over a month later, finals passed, Sandy's math competition results came out. To celebrate, she did book a flight to Hainan. I thought it was because of what I said that day, excitedly waiting and waiting. Until her plane took off with friends, I realized I'd never been invited. This trip, folks thought Sandy wasn't her usual upbeat self. Even though she brought up diving, she seemed uninterested, skipping most activities, just sitting alone by the beach, phone in hand, like waiting for someone's message. Someone thought she had school matters and asked if she'd like to head back early. She just shook her head. Only when Henry, whom she often complained about, called, did Sandy perk up. After the call, she stretched with a big smile at the ocean. I knew he wouldn't last long. Turns out it's a New Year's gift. How lame. Turning to her friends, she suggested, we had planned to celebrate New Year's on the island and fly back the next day, right? Why not change up the plan, hold a party at my place instead? Oh, and Henry hates smoke, so you guys don't light up. The plane landed on the last day of the year. When Sandy finally drove into downtown, it was almost evening. Standing outside the door, she suddenly felt her heart racing. A jumbled mess of thoughts swirled around in her head. Mysterious. Why did it need to be set up so early? She placed one hand on the door and the other into her coat pocket. Inside was a gift she had brought back from Hainan. Taking a deep breath, she tried to calm herself down. This was her first time being away from Henry for such a long time, and she wasn't quite used to it. He should be inside the room by now. Probably not in the best mood since he didn't go diving. She thought about comforting him with a few words and then giving him the gift. Hopefully, he'll be carefree and happy like before. While she was lost in thought, her friends started cheering from behind. Open the door, Sandy. Didn't you say you'd take us to your place for New Year's? Henry's here, right? Haven't seen him in ages. Of course, Sandy replied. Henry's been preparing a surprise gift these days. Sandy could almost feel her smile breaking out. With a brief pause, she entered the code, and the door swung open. What's all the noise? Be quiet, everyone. Inside, the apartment was empty. Even with 6 or 7 people entering a huge place like this, it still felt vast and vacant. They all stood there, stunned. Where's Henry? Weren't we supposed to celebrate New Year's together? Where'd he go? Someone asked. Maybe he just stepped out? Sandy said nothing and ignored everyone as she frowned tightly, opening door after door, but no one was there. Where did Henry go? He had promised. Just as her mood had lifted, it dropped back down. Sandy picked up her phone, ready to call, when one of her close roommates ran in from the living room, holding a red velvet box. Sandy, check this out. Isn't this a gift from Henry? It was sitting right in the middle of the coffee table with your name on it. It's a beautifully wrapped box with a sticky note on top, 3 lines of little text. Sandy, take this. Wishing you everything you desire, wishing me a future that's free. Henry. Sandy let out a sigh of relief and smiled a little. Took him this long just for this? So dramatic. She peeled the sticky note off, slipping it into her pocket. Carefully, she opened the box and froze with just a glance. It was a bracelet, one she had picked out herself. Back in the summer after graduation, she had quietly watched from behind a door as her mom had put it on Henry's wrist. So pretty, and such a good fit for him. She thought he'd wear it forever. But it's only been a few years, and he's left it behind? A wave of panic suddenly washed over her. Sandy lowered her head and found Henry's chat box, making an audio call. Instantly, a red exclamation mark popped up. The other party has added you to the blacklist. What a stunning diamond bracelet, someone commented nearby. But why is it for men? Is it that Henry gave this to Sandy for Charlie? Sandy whipped around, pushing the person away. Her eyes were turning red, lips pressed tightly. Her whole emotion seemed crushed, and she was trembling slightly. Shut up. You're talking nonsense. She borrowed another friend's phone to call Henry again. Same result. Can't get through. She tried another and another, all with the same outcome. It seemed like Henry had blocked her entire group of friends in one swoop. Charlie came over and gently held her wrist, speaking softly. Sandy, chill, okay? Henry's got his own stuff going on. If he's not here, we can still celebrate the new year together, right? Sandy pulled her hand back. For the first time, she felt a sense of resistance to Charlie's touch. How can it be the same? Not 1,000 or 10,000 people could compare to having Henry. At the stroke of midnight, they had never been apart. She stepped back, her brow furrowing deeply as she scrolled through her phone, wanting to ask someone if they knew where he was now. Suddenly, a notification from her school popped up. Announcement of students from our school selected for overseas exchange programs. She clicked in and immediately saw that familiar name. Our group of students going to the UK includes 5 people. One of them was someone I knew from way back. An elementary classmate. I was shocked she had changed so much. Back in elementary school, she was short and chubby, always in a thick down jacket, trailing behind me. She'd ask the most childish questions. Henry, how do you do division vertically? What's a multiple? Can you explain it to me? I couldn't figure out the essay topic. I want to see yours. In 5th grade, she transferred to another city. I heard her parents were leading a national scientific research project, heading off to complete some super secret task in the wilderness. We lost touch. Until now. Someone called my name from behind. Henry. Long time no see. I turned slowly. After 10 years, that little girl who clung to my backpack, asking me to wait for her, had grown up. She wore a dark gray coat and looked nearly 6 feet tall. She took off her mask and revealed a face as striking as any celebrity's. I'm Irene. Remember? Happy New Year, Henry. I was in theoretical physics. Irene was in applied mathematics. Our buildings were just across a tree-lined path, yet for 3 years not once did we cross paths. Luckily, we both signed up for this exchange program. When I saw the acceptance list, I immediately went to check with your department, and it really is you. Irene said she actually tried to find me before, back in high school. Her parents' project was nearly done, and she finally got the chance to travel out of town. So she took a train back to our old place. We were just kids when we parted ways. No phones, no cell phones, the chance of meeting again? Super slim. But she was persistent. She went back to our elementary school. Asked the class teacher about my middle school, then my high school. She waited at the school gates, hoping to catch me after class. But she didn't find me. Instead, she ran into Sandy. Sandy was leaving the court through the side gate, heading to the snack shop for a drink. She turned around and her eyes locked on Irene. She stopped in her tracks. You look familiar. You're not from our school. Who are you looking for? With a bite on her lip, she had this intense, sharp look. I think I recognize you. You're that kid from 2nd grade who transferred away, right? I was surprised Sandy remembered Irene. She was in 4th grade, not even in the same class as us. I didn't think she'd have any impression, but Irene shook her head. No. Back in elementary, didn't you guys walk to and from school together a lot? I kept asking you questions from behind, and she'd glare at me like I was taking something from her. She must have remembered me from then. Irene hesitated. I asked her if you were still at school that day. She told me you all moved away and wouldn't be coming back. She looked into my eyes. I found out from other classmates about your graduating high school. You didn't move away, did you? If it weren't for Sandy pulling that stunt, maybe Irene and I would have crossed paths sooner. Why did she do that? It's just baffling. We chatted all the way through boarding the plane, then met up with other classmates. Everyone was seated close enough to look out for each other during the trip. The other travelers, even though they were academic hotshots from various departments, turned out to be unexpectedly cool. We all shared snacks and talked about the papers and projects we're working on. That's how we spent the flight for over 10 hours. Wrapped in a blanket, I looked out at the shifting clouds and remembered what my mentor said about studying abroad. Maybe I should get out more. The world out there is pretty open and bright. Seniors from our lab came to the airport to pick us up. They were super welcoming. They helped carry our luggage back to the dorms. From them, I learned the school even set up a special account to promote our project. But it only listed names, no specific exchange schools, which was nice. Before I boarded the plane, I had deleted Sandy and her crew from my contacts. After last time when I stood her up on New Year's, I had decided to cut ties with that clique. So I wasn't looking forward to them knowing where I was. Honestly, Sandy probably wouldn't even care. The past few weeks have been pretty peaceful. I attend classes, read, and then do some experiments. Irene and I have overlapping research interests. We often hit the library together, exchanging recent papers and conference materials. Sometimes, she'd bring her laptop over. She'd type away while watching me work with the experimental equipment. When the building closed, we'd stroll back to the dorms together. Life started having this comforting routine. Occasionally, some distant classmates would call late at night. They'd pretend to catch up, but were low-key fishing for info on where I was, what institute I was at, and who was around me. We were never close, only connected because of courses. Now they'd ring up, probably at someone else's bidding. I mostly ignored them, throwing out a few vague words. Eventually, those calls stopped. I thought everything had blown over until recently. After finishing an experiment and having lunch with Irene, this strange number called. It was Sandy. In her time zone, it should have been late night. "Henry, weren't we supposed to spend New Year's together?" Her voice was raspy, like she'd had a lot to drink, a bit disoriented. "I waited for you all night, looked for you everywhere. Henry, you just left me a bracelet. You telling me you want nothing to do with me? Are you just gonna throw me away?" There were others in the background. Her friends were vying for the phone, making sure I could hear. "Henry, when are you coming back? Why did you fight with Sandy and block us too? I miss your chocolate cake. Sandy's been drinking, calling your name. It's been tough on us. Where are you studying? We'll fly out to see you." I remembered the original storyline of the novel I woke up in. In it, her friends didn't like me. No matter how hard I tried, gifting, cooking treats, learning their interests, nothing worked. They adored Charlie. Later, Sandy dated Charlie. They were scared I'd tell her folks and tricked me into a secluded house, locking me up. That day, Henry had a fever and felt horribly ill, struggling to breathe, nearly passing out. No phone. To get to the hospital, he climbed out a window, but a passing car skidded and wham, crushed his leg. Even if I hadn't gone through those scenes as written, even if it was just a Henry from a parallel world, someone totally unrelated to me, I still felt sick reading those words and listening to Sandy's friends. My fingers clenched tighter. I didn't say a word and hung up the phone. Irene noticed the sour look on my face and glanced over at me. "What's up?" she asked. I gritted my teeth and snorted. "Sandy, that jinx," I hissed. She was a bit taken aback and then smiled slightly. "She's definitely going to find you, Henry. No matter what, I'm on your side," she reassured me. And Irene was right. Sandy did show up. All along, I'd been chasing after her. But this time, it seemed different. She stood at the lab's door in a lightweight coat and scarf, obviously dressed up, but her paleness and gloomy demeanor gave away what was really going on. Her eyes looked bruised underneath, like she hadn't slept well, and she looked way thinner. "Henry," she smiled lightly, raising her arm to show off a few big bags. "My mom asked me to bring these to you. She's been busy at home making all sorts of food lately: beef jerky, cake rolls, snowflake snacks, grilled sausages. I tried them and they're pretty good. She insisted I bring some over." Sandy could be annoying, but her mom was different. She had been good to me since we were kids. When my parents were busy with work, they'd leave me at Sandy's house. She had a room full of toys and discs, and she always let me play with her stuff. Sometimes I'd argue with Sandy, and her mom would take my side. "Henry is a boy, why is a girl like you fighting him?" She'd say. "Henry has such a good temper, and you still manage to argue with him?" I guess they knew I'd never go against her mom. Sandy even called her to smooth things over. Her mom didn't seem to know we had a fight. She thought Sandy was just visiting me abroad for fun. "Henry, I heard you went on an exchange? I haven't seen your parents lately," Sandy told me. "Our business is mainly in the country. Sandy might not get to travel abroad often, so please show her around," she said. Before I could even respond, Sandy took back the phone. "Okay, Mom, don't worry," she said. I rolled my eyes in frustration. Really, I was ticked off. To finish the task, I sped up and started showing her around campus. "This is the library, the cafeteria, the gym, the art hall." Sandy carried a load in her arms. After a long flight, She was clearly jet-lagged and tired. She followed me with effort, visibly wobbling but keeping up. Trying to make conversation, she said, "This place is beautiful, Henry." Even though I repeatedly told her to return to the hotel and rest, she shook her head. "I'm not tired, really, it's okay." Truth is, she was a world apart from who she used to be. Back then, she'd tease me about being her little shadow, hard to shake off. I was getting annoyed and didn't want to drag this on. I stopped, turned to her coldly, and threw her own words right back at her. "Sandy, can you have some self-respect? Can't you see I'm trying to ask you to leave? Why do you keep tagging along like a shadow?" Her face fell, turning grayish. Her lips quivered, fingers clenching and unclenching. Just as I thought it was over and walked away, she rushed to grab my wrist. "Don't go, Henry. Don't go. Listen to me." Sandy's voice trembled, using all her strength. "I'm sorry. While you were away, I thought a lot. I know I messed up. I'm stubborn, care about saving face, don't respect others, and often gave you the cold shoulder. I'm horrible, but can you not give me a death sentence yet? Just give me another chance, please?" She pulled out a velvet box from her coat pocket. When I looked down, I recognized it as the one with the bracelet I had returned. It even had a note attached. Sandy took a deep breath, trying to smile. "You left this at New Year's with the note. I read it often. May you achieve your desires, and may I find freedom ahead. But Henry, I like you." If the old Sandy had said that, I'd have been over the moon. But now it was different. Henry has grown too. I've seen more of the world and met more people. That small world I lived in doesn't contain me anymore. I slowly pulled my hand away and shook my head. "No, Sandy, you've got it wrong. I wrote it because I thought you and Charlie were perfect together. Plus, I just got an email from the lab here with an offer for research and work. I might stay here longer, maybe not returning for a few years. Just like I said before, let's cut ties. Sandy has to take over her family's company after graduation. Her family has some unique business restrictions. They can't set up branches overseas, and most of the higher-ups have to report their trips abroad each year. So, when I finally made this decision, it meant cutting all ties with Sandy." She looked at me deeply, almost like her energy was drained, slumping a little. She nervously explained, "Charlie and I have nothing going on. I was just looking after him because he's new in town with no relatives here. But why should I care?" I turned away, shrugged my shoulders. "I appreciate your mom's feelings, Sandy. You don't have to explain. I don't even like you. Goodbye." Immediately after, I glanced over at someone just walking on the path beside the trees. A girl was carrying a stack of papers, probably just left the library. Wondering how much she heard. Why didn't she greet me earlier? I said I don't like Sandy. Did you hear me? Irene's ears turned red. "So, what's your type?" I poked her dimple. "Take a guess." Epilogue. Before midnight, Sandy sent everyone home. She searched every corner of the room, looking for any trace of Henry left behind. She found nothing until she saw shredded paper in the trash can in the corner. For some reason, she felt it must be from him. So, she spent the whole night piecing those paper bits together, eventually reassembling a list of things Henry wanted to do with her. The first thing on the list was to go diving. Sandy probably didn't remember, but back when our families went for an outdoor trip, I had fallen into a reservoir. The adults were too busy preparing lunch by the RV to notice me, and Sandy jumped in and saved me. She was my lifesaver. I had to stick close to her, and also learn swimming to let her see I wouldn't be such trouble next time. Sandy stared blankly at those sentences. She didn't know Henry wanted to dive because of that incident. She thought it was just a random suggestion. Felt like she couldn't breathe, suddenly feeling overwhelmed. She squatted down, picked up her phone, and opened that article on the school's public account again. And there, she unexpectedly saw Irene's name. Irene, someone she really couldn't stand. Sandy couldn't quite explain why. Maybe it was since elementary school. That little girl would always follow Henry around, chattering constantly, like a little tail. She finally switched schools to get away, but still had to come back looking for him. Now reuniting with Henry in this way, Sandy felt a sudden panic. She unconsciously thought about it. During his time abroad, would Henry develop feelings for Irene? Would he forget about her? Would he stop forgiving her? Turns out Henry really moved on from her. The house code was still 0904. It was supposed to be for the first day of school, but it was actually the day they both first flew together alone. Sandy never changed the code. She couldn't say if she was waiting for Henry to come back. But he never returned to this home. After graduating, she joined the family business, getting involved in the operations, and lost the chance to ever reach out to him again. Over those years, she felt herself growing dull and numb. Even those friends drifted away. A lot of them relied on their family businesses, and after losing their support, faced a decline, falling downhill. Some came from spoiled backgrounds and took dangerous paths to maintain their lavish lifestyle, only to end up behind bars. Some were used as pawns by their families, traded off to rivals to buy time, facing even worse fates. And others just sank into oblivion after their companies went bankrupt, living day by day without hope. As for Charlie, he married a woman 14 years his senior, wealthy but reckless. I heard he didn't mind her lifestyle, but Sandy didn't care about any of it. She focused only on work. And in her spare time, she picked tasks from Henry's shredded list to complete on her own, like going to a concert alone or skydiving, even bungee jumping. When she saw news of Henry and Irene's engagement in the alumni group chat, Sandy was on a snow mountain. She kept looking at their photos, zooming in and out 1,000,000 times, until her eyes and chest ached. Still, she couldn't figure it out. How did things get to this point? The snow fell hard that day, the wind howled. Someone rushed by, and she heard staff shouting about an avalanche warning, urging everyone to evacuate immediately. She got up, then sat back down. Forget it, she thought. Let the story end here. Sandy closed her eyes. As the snow collapsed thunderously, she stretched out her arms, pretending to embrace the Henry from years ago, who once had eyes only for her.